Welcome into the Shopfix channel. In this episode, I want to show you a step-by-step guide of how to install recessed lighting. Shopfix, your free online source for everything DIY. Recessed lighting has to be installed in between ceiling joists, so we're going to need to locate those in the first step. What you'll want to find is two ceiling joists running parallel to one another, and you'll want to find those with a stud finder and mark them with a pencil. Once you've marked the location of two ceiling joists side by side, then you'll be able to put the recessed light in between those ceiling joists. In the second step, we'll be measuring and marking the final placement of this recessed light fixture. In this example, I have a recessed light on the opposite side of the room, and so I want it to be as far from the wall as that light as to match the placement and get a nice symmetrical look for the lighting. In the third step, we're going to be setting up the hole saw to match the diameter of the recessed light can, and it does come with a template. However, I recommend measuring this on the actual recessed light can, and that way the hole doesn't come out too small and you get a nice snug fit. I recommend using this hole saw bit that comes with a cover, and that way there's no mess to clean up after you drill this hole out. Now that we have the correct placement marked and our hole saw measured to the right diameter, we can begin to drill this hole out in the ceiling drywall. And you'll want to take your time when cutting out the drywall here. You definitely don't want to make a mistake because this is something that can't really be redone. Once your hole saw bit has gone through the entire thickness of the drywall, it'll dislodge that portion and then you can lower your drill. If this recessed light is being placed where there's insulation, I would either A, move the insulation to the side, or B, remove some of that insulation, and that'll make room for the recessed light can to be housed in between the ceiling joists. In this example, I'll be using 14 gauge wire, which is fairly common for electrical applications for lighting such as this. Regardless of the type of wire that your electrical application requires, you'll definitely need to unsheath a portion of the wire and strip the ends to reveal bare copper. You'll want to shoot for 6 inches of unsheathed wire to be housed within the box, and then you want to strip the ends of the wires about a ½ inch. To be able to insert the new line within the box, you'll need to knock out one of the circles in the metal junction box. Once you have this knocked out, you'll be able to insert your unsheathed portion of the wire within the box, and in step 7, begin the electrical connections. Most recessed light fixtures made nowadays use push-in connectors, which means all you have to do is insert the stripped portion of the wire that corresponds to the correct color within that push-in connector. So as you can see here, I'm pushing my bare copper wire, which is ground, into the push-in connector, which also houses the bare copper ground. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the white wire. I'm pushing my new white wire into the push-in connector, which houses the white wires. If you're running an additional light off of this recessed light, you'll simply repeat the process and push in the black, white, and bare copper wires within the push-in connectors that correspond to the correct color. Once the proper electrical connections have been made, you can push the wires back into the junction box and close it up with the provided lid. To keep your new line securely in place in the junction box, you can use a push-in cable connector to keep that line secure within the knockout. Now that we have the proper electrical connections made, in step 8, we're going to be inserting the recessed light fixture into the hole that we cut out in the ceiling drywall. When installing the recessed light fixture, I find that going at an angle works the best. In this example, I had a pretty tight fit. However, if yours is any tighter, you'll want to take a drywall saw and cut that hole a little bit bigger so that you don't damage the edges of the drywall. However, you want to make sure that you don't cut that hole too big, because what will end up happening is the very edge of the can, which is supposed to sit on the outside of the drywall, will end up going through the ceiling because there's not enough drywall to hold it in place. Now, when installing this recessed light fixture, I had the tabs on the inside pulled out, and then once you get it into place to securely mount the light fixture, you'll want to push those tabs in and you'll hear a click, and that's when it locks on the top of the drywall. If these tabs are too hard to push in by hand, you can use a flathead screwdriver to help you. Most of the newly manufactured recessed light cans have a plastic cap over the socket, and you'll want to remove that before you insert any bulbs. One of the last steps that you definitely don't want to forget is to install a recessed light cover. Recessed light covers come in different shapes, sizes, and colors, and so Sometimes you want to match the existing look of a room, or you'll want to change up and remodel a room. Either way, you'll just want to make sure that the diameter of the recessed light cover covers the entire light fixture. Recessed light covers simply install by using a spring mechanism that hooks into a keyhole at the top of the light fixture. Now you want to go ahead and install your light bulb into the new recessed light. However, sometimes the depth of the light bulb isn't exactly where you want it. So you want to unscrew your light bulb and adjust the depth by unscrewing the wing nut and lowering that light fixture socket down a little bit to get the correct depth. Afterwards, you can reinstall the light bulb and check for correct placement. In this example, I powered the new recessed light by wiring in the 14 gauge wire into a junction box from an adjacent recessed light in the same room. There are many ways to power your new light, however, that is definitely the simplest one by just drawing power from an existing light fixture within the same room, and then afterwards you can redistribute the insulation over the working area. I really hope this step-by-step guide to installing recessed lights helped you complete your DIY project. If you run into any problems with your own installation or you need some more clarification on a specific topic in this video, comment below and I'll definitely get back to you as soon as I can. Well, that about wraps it up here today. Thanks for tuning in.